Now, on to the next session. Mr. Vinod Narayan is the Agile coach and digital transformation lead with over 25 years in technology management. A well-known content creator, filmmaker, and coach, he has been educating individuals and teams over several years now. Well, if the name Vinod Narayan does not ring a bell, his moniker definitely will. He is the famous Ballata Bahen, popular through FP posts on contemporary topics. He has more than 281,000 followers in Facebook. We are glad to have you amongst us, sir, today. Over to you.
Thanks, Pradeep. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So, thank you, PMIK, and pretty honored to be in this event. And half an hour ago, I was in the bed, cozy under the blanket, and now I'm here. So it's a Saturday morning here. So if I sound a bit, if I'm getting confused that I'm in the bed or attending the webinar, then excuse me for that. So let me go ahead and start sharing, and we can go ahead, right? Let me see.
Yes, we can.
Okay, share. Hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Give me a second. Clear, right? Okay. Good morning, all. So today, you might have heard a lot of keynote speeches, but what I want to share with you is more of a personal journey. I'm not giving you any methodology. I'm probably going to share a mindset with you all. And I call that minimal agile. It's about being minimal in life and at the same time being agile at work. It's probably been about 20 years since people started, the agile movement started, and we've been working on it. There have been very different branches. We decided to scale it, and at all the time, it's always been a professional journey for most of us. But for me, it's been more a personal and a professional journey, and that's what I want to share with you all. And probably there might be some areas that you could potentially connect with. So first, a quick intro. I'm not going to give you an intro, but I think that many times for any change that happens around us, whether we know about it or it is forced on us, we are sometimes the biggest obstacle in our path. If it is something other than us, it's easy for us or someone else to remove it from our path. But if we are the obstacle, it's really difficult for us to jump over us. So the only way we can do that is that, just like how we do it in Agile, the retrospective, getting out of yourself and looking at yourself and see what the problem is. So you want to know more, just check on LinkedIn, Google search. I'm not going to go into credentials. I think Pradeep had given a quick intro to that. But I want to share a few things from where I stand today and talk. So I think we all should have multiple careers, and that's important because the world is so different than what was probably 25, 30 years back, where people used to have one single career, one company, one job for 30 years, and then they're retired. My neighbor here spent about 32 years, 33 years in Pacific Gas and Electricity and retired. Just one job, the same thing over and over. But I think that's changed. We all have multiple careers, and your career switch can happen even at a later stage, not initially in your career. And one life is not enough to explore this diverse world that we have. And we all know there's only one life. So in such case, it's through different careers and different personas do we really try to explore and experience this life. We should be working on experiences rather than things, in acquiring experiences rather than things. Because at the end of the day, if you really look at life, what you have is not a collection of things. It's a collection of experience. Sometimes I feel we get old only to tell stories to the younger people. And you can have only stories in your life if you have experiences. So all our life, what we really do, whether we work, whether we have a relationship, whether we live, travel, we are all acquiring experiences that we can share with others through stories. So that's one thing. Be yourself, because everyone else is taken. So the society wants us to conform to certain normal. They want us to be in a certain way. They want us to act in a certain way. And it's not just when we are students or starting our careers, but even mid-career, when we try to think something that might be radically different from how things are, you might find a resistance accepting those things. But being yourself, because everyone else taken, and that's important for us to move forward. You can go to penpositive.com and vinodnarayan.com, and that's where you can find my professional and my personal self for more. So that is pretty much I want you to know that 4 things before you move into the session. Why are we here? So always that why question is something. You go to a webinar, you go for a course, you go somewhere, that why question is very important. As Simon Sinek talks about why, we need to have that question, and I want to share that with you. And I think why we are all here today, to learn something new, because one of the most important things for us is to learn something new, and that we think we are learning something every time we face a challenge, but it's not just about challenge. Whatever we do, we want to learn something new, to be reminded of what we already know. And it's not just the new things that we learn. We all know a lot of things, but always we need to start getting reminded of what we already know, because we have this unique ability to forget things. So we have to be reminded quite often, to question our own thinking. We might not like it, we might resist, we might not agree when our thinking is questioned, but at the end of the day, we want our thinking to be questioned. And we want to see that we are not missing out on something. So we all have the fear of missing out, the FOMO. And I think one of the reasons we attend these conferences, we talk to people, we engage, is because we don't want to miss out on things. We want to arm ourselves to be more efficient and effective. And that's one thing that we always keep in mind when we attend here. We need to be happy, both in life and in work. And we want to be paid more by delivering more value. Now, we talk about value. You go to any webinar, you'll hear people talking about value being delivered to the customer, to the end user. But at the same time, when we deliver value, we want to be paid more. The more value you deliver, the more you want to get paid. As a company, as an organization, as a team, as an individual, that's what you want. Let's look at what minimal agile is. And I took that picture. That's not me. You can make that out. But see when I look at minimal agile, the way I look at it is, it's just like I've got a tire and I'm trying to get into the water, and always I come back pretty drenched. So explaining that is always a personal journey, and you get completely drenched when you go ahead with personal journeys. So minimal agile for me is a very personal journey. And there was an aha moment a few years back. By aha moment, what I mean is that one day you just realize something, and then that changes your life. So I got this feeling that, and I think I was probably 43, 44 at that time, and I thought there's $1 in life that I would probably make that I'll never use in my lifetime. $1, but and most of the people would have that. We might be short of money when we get old. There's a possibility, but some people, they might make so much money that they're not going to use in life. But the problem is that we don't know when do we stop, so we keep doing it. And so for some people, it's a passion. For some people, they're just running the race, and they know they're not going to win. So I said, and this happens typically for people who are post 40, go there, they have this checklist that they start looking at what life is and things like that. So and I realized that only at a point, and that's not because I had a loads of money or bank balance. In fact, I was having a lot of financial issues at that point of time, and that's when this aha moment struck. So I said, I'm not going to retire normally. So I'm not. I would rather like to retire minimal. What is the minimal that I need? The minimum that I need to retire at any point of time. And at that time, I was an Agile consultant, and Agile for me felt very incomplete because it did not address my real problems, which was my personal issues. And I said, that is incomplete. It's only half of the story. And then I realized that you have to be minimal in life if you really need to get that complete picture of being Agile. And that is where I got into being minimal in life and be Agile at work. And then one particular principle in the Agile principles came to my help, which was reducing waste, maximizing work not done. So we always think about maximizing the work and the result that we do. But in Agile, we say we should maximize the work not done, because work is not producing the result that we want. So we're not needing any of those things. So that's what really stuck. That then I started evaluating everything that I do, and I figured out that 80% of the stuff that I do, stuff that I have, are things that I probably don't need. And that was probably where my journey started for Minimal Agile. So what is minimal? Minimal for me, and it can be different for different people if you've read Minimalism and all those things, it is not being deprived. It's not like you like something so much and you want to be minimal and you just decide that you're not going to use it anymore, or you're depriving yourself of what you really love. That's not what minimal is. So I want you all and each one of the people to find what your minimalism is. What is it that you think you'll be happy without having? And that's what your minimalism is. And that might be different for you, different for me. What I value in life is not what you would value in life. So minimal is all about having a lot of what we value and not really wasting our time on things that we don't value. We also, when we talk about what we value, we need to also know about how we deliver value. Because delivering value to our life and the people that you connect with us and the society that we work in or live in. So it has to be about the value we deliver. So that came to the point of asking, what is my minimal happy existence? Or me, the H can be silent. So there is a happy existence, and there is a okay existence, and there is a sad existence. So what is my happy existence? What is the minimal happy existence that I have? What are the minimal things that I need to be happy in my existence? And that's what really, for me, minimalism is all about. Now, how do you come up with me or MHE? If everything is lost today, I live in an earthquake-prone area. You might have earthquake, floods, things like COVID, maybe a war. A lot of things that happen which is beyond our control. And we might lose everything. So the question that we ask ourselves is, if we lose everything at this point, how long will it take to be me again? How long will it take to be minimal, happy existence again? If you have a lot of things, getting back to that stage is difficult than having less things. So realizing what your me is about how long it takes when everything is taken away from you. And that's, for me, is minimal. And what's Agile? See, like the picture shows, we all juggle a lot. And that is in professional life or personal life. Without knowing, many of us are truly Agile. I've seen my mom work and be at home, and I found her to be very agile. So before the concept of agile really came in. So it's not a new concept if you look at it. And that's how we have been approaching life and work. Some people are more agile than other people. One question when we talk about agile is, what business are you in? And I'm not talking about the business from a work perspective, but also the business as you, as a human being, as an individual, as a professional, as a dad, as a mom, as a son, daughter, brother, sister. What's your business? What business are you in? Are you in the business of making everyone around you happy? Are you in the business of being truthful and knowing that you're imperfect? Are you in the business of accepting people as they are? What business are you in? Because that's important for us to even get to the point where we can think about being agile. Are you learning? Not learning something new, maybe something that you already know. And are you doing it on a daily basis? Because when you stop learning, you stop being agile. I think you stop being alive, but yeah, you stop being agile. So that's an important question when it comes to agile for me. Is your success repeatable? There's no point in having any success if that cannot be repeated. Because then it's a fluke, an accident, it just happened. You have absolutely no clue, you're happy, but you don't know what happened. And as project managers or people working in the industry, you would know that nothing can be done if it is not repeatable. So that's why we always have process, How did we reach here? Okay, we do the same thing, you can reach in this. So it's all about being repeatable. And that is important when it comes to agile. Are you sustainable? And there are two questions in this. Are you sustainable and can you sustain? So when I say can you sustain, what that means is that there are people who come to me and say, I had 18-hour days. And there was a time when I hear people saying they had 18-hour days, I really feel good that there's someone who's putting so much hours. And then as time went by, I said, no, if you do 18-hour days continuously, you're not doing the right thing, because you cannot sustain yourself, point number one. And then you have some serious problem in how you're managing time. So can we sustain is important. As an individual, as a professional, are we able to deliver value in a sustainable fashion? The other question is, are you sustainable, is whether your company, your society, your family can sustain you. Sustain you in the sense, even not financially, but even emotionally, can they sustain you? Maybe you give so much trouble to a lot of people around you, as in the society, in the family, in the company, even people who deliver extremely well, there are people who companies cannot sustain because they have a demeanor that really troubles the culture of the organization. So are you sustainable? So if you are being agile, you need to be sustainable within an organization, both from a paycheck as well as from an emotional and character perspective. Are you delivering value? And it's not a question of are you delivering value. Do people know you're delivering value? Because if you're delivering value and people don't know about it, then that time is not far when you will slowly slip into total obscurity. And you don't want that. And so when you're delivering value, you should have a mechanism that lets people know that you're delivering value. Or not just you, if you're in a team, if you say you're a Scrum Master and you have a team, people need to know that as a team you're delivering. And how does that happen? That's only when you measure progress. Individually, as a team, as an organization, if you don't measure progress, you're not even having any progress. People don't like to measure, because when you measure, reality comes out. When you measure, you realize you did not reach what you expected. When you measure and put that measure outside in the public, people will realize you didn't do that well. So, but it's important to be honest and make ourselves uncomfortable by measuring, because that's the only way you can move forward. And then the question is, are you in the flow? When you do something, can you completely immerse yourself in doing it as a job? You cannot have people be agile if they are not being in the flow, doing what they have. And that's why we always say, when you have a team, you need a team that works together, self-organized. And that's because they, as a team, are in the flow when they work on each sprint. Now, I want to revisit Minimal Agile with what I spoke about Minimal and Agile. If we look at what's the time. Okay. So, walk from work to home and back. And what I mean by that is that there are a lot of people who switch off. Like, work is different, home is different. For me, throughout my career, it's been more or less same. And the reason for that is I started my career as an entrepreneur, working out of my home or home office kind of stuff. And then throughout my time where I used to work as a remote worker. And for me, always work and home were not that different. My closest friends were people with whom I did business or I worked. So they were pretty much whom I used to regularly. I had other friends, but even then, majority of my time was spent with my colleagues, both on a personal and professional. And for me, that's very important, the walk from work to home and back, because you're not carrying work home. You're just being the same self at home and at work. One issue, if you don't do that, is you carry out all your work frustrations home, and you take your home frustrations and challenges and struggles to work. Even though you demarcate, you take these two things there. But if you build a bridge and you can very easily walk between these two places, it tremendously changes the way you start looking work. Value delivery is job agnostic. It does not matter what job you do, whether you're professionally doing something, whether you're doing it as a charity, whether you're doing. I think when during a time like COVID, to do an event like this, you have to deliver value, and it has to be job agnostic. When I look at from a minimal agile perspective, change happens, and you cannot stop it. You don't have a choice whether you want to be part of it because you are in it. Whether change happens or not, you deliver, and that's the most important thing. There was a time when when I was starting my career, one person came to me and said, another friend of me called him a useless fellow, and he felt very bad about it when he was called useless. And so when I was thinking about it, I said, I mean, yeah, if you're not of any use, you are useless, right? So many times we don't even think about delivering. We don't think what we give to the work that we do. So for us, we have to be of use to the society. We have to be of use to the place of work. So change happens, but we don't have a choice. We keep delivering. We have to live by the Agile core values. The 4 core values of Agile is something that we can take all the way to work, to home as well. Because you talk about everything in the 4 core Agile values, you can take that into your life and live by that as well. Read books regularly. So I recently finished Tom Siebel's digital transformation, and in that last paragraph, I think last page, he's saying he always asks his executives and people. Now he's running this company C3.ai, an enterprise AI software company. So he says, read regularly. When you travel, carry a book. When you go somewhere, carry a book. Have books in all your room. Keep reading regularly, because we have lost that ability to be immersed in something. Say immersed in 300 pages, and at the end of it, finish it and grasp something. That's very important, and I think that should be continued. Minimal is rich, and agile is a virtue, and that's how I look at minimal agile. Minimal is not about being deprived; it's about being rich. And the reason I say rich is there are 2 things I think that really makes people rich, and that is space and time. Space, you need to have space. You can have a huge place of your own, mansion of your own, and if you stuff it all, hoard with a lot of things, you don't have space. And you need to have space inside, you need to have space in society, you need to have space in relationships, and space makes you rich, and you need time. If you don't have time to do what you really want, to spend time with what you really like to do, or really deliver value to who you are, I think time and space and time are two things that really makes you rich, which minimal provides you. And agile is a virtue because it's not just about delivery, it's about who you are. It's a mindset, it's not a method. And keep experimenting. The only way you can move forward is by keeping experimenting. Because only way you know you're on the right track or know that you have failed is by keep experimenting. Time check again. Okay. So I took you through the personal journey, but where do you start? How do you start? Is there and I could have made this 10 steps, but 5 steps are enough because we're talking about minimal. So let me take you through those 5 steps that I think will be needed for you to start the journey. First, we discussed, I want you to create your me, your minimal happy existence. Because that's your starting point. Because unless you know what your minimal happy existence is, there's no minimal agile in that whole thing. Tag personal sprints to work sprints. If you're working in agile, you might have your work sprints. You might be starting your sprint on a Monday and 2 weeks and run it till the next Friday. Or you might start on a Wednesday and end on a Tuesday. I don't know whether you sprint on your personal life as well. You need to, because that's what minimal agile is all about, because you take things into your life. But tag your personal sprints with your work sprints. So you don't have to manage 2 different cadence. You have a work cadence, have a personal cadence, a sprint. So tag these things together. Teach others everything you learn. I think that's important. Why do you learn? The only reason you learn is you can teach others. Always learn with the intention to teach. So when I talk about books, people ask, how do you remember certain things in the book? Whenever I read a book, I do so with the intention to talk about it to someone. When we learn anything, if we have the intention to teach someone, it makes a dramatic difference in how you grasp and how you're able to consume content and information. Do daily retro. You might do your retrospectives every end of every sprint, but in minimal agile, you have to do a daily retro, which is every day, end of the day, ask yourself what went well, what did not go well, and what is it that I can improve tomorrow when I do the same thing. Build your backlog. This is like your minimal agile backlog. Everything that gets you to your me, gets you to that existence of being minimally agile. And building that backlog and working through that backlog just like how you would do in your professional life. Now, I spoke for some time and the question always comes, did this help me? We can always talk about a lot of ideas, a lot of things, and then say that I don't know if it works, I just want to throw something out there. So it cannot complete if I don't tell you whether it helped me. So I told you that around 43 years or something is when the aha moment started, and I started looking at what this whole thing is. So over the last 3 years, 4 years, a few things that has happened to me, and I will share that with you. And these are things that I did not think would happen at any point of time, but it happened. And I think it has to do a lot with the mindset that you fall into. So currently, I call it a starter school, because always it's been a dream to start in a school, but it was always challenging. Then slowly my career took me from being an agile consultant, digital transformation PM, and then moving into training, coaching, getting into an e-learning industry with Singularity University, and then starting my own school at Penn Positive. not perfect, but at least a few years back, when I was 8 years back, if you asked me, I wouldn't know whether I would even reach there. It was just a dream. Like I just wanted to do it. But today I started that thing, and I have about 1,200 students who have completed the course that I put in over there. So that has happened. There are 2 books on the way. I'd already self-published 2 books before, but that's I mean, when the publishing industry, the barrier to entry goes down, anyone can publish if you can write. But I have 2 books with publishers on the way, which I'm working on. So that's something that I would completely say that it's because of that change and shift in mindset that has happened. I got connected with people, and when I say connected with people, it's not just the number of people that I got connected with; it's also the people that I got connected with. Over the past 2 years, 2.5 years, I've across various sections, I've got connected with people, which obviously most of us get connected using Facebook and Twitter and all those things, but on a personal level, getting connected, on a personal level, you get to connect with a lot of people. And I think when your mindset shifts, your connections go deep. Act in the movie. So that's something that I always never thought would happen, but it happened. Was part of a literature festival. So I used to always listen to literature festivals, recordings, and always wonder, hey, I want to attend one of these, because I was part of the San Jose Poetry Center over here, and we participate in the Lit Week that happens in San Francisco, and even International Poetry Festival and everything as a participant. And I always thought maybe back home in India, I need to attend maybe the KLF or Jaipur Literature Festival as an attendee, but never thought that I would be part of that. And this time that happened. I had 4 or 5 stages on the Kerala Literature Festival, and which gave me an opportunity to meet with people that I've only read in books, or whose books I've read, which was a very refreshing and happy moment for me. And that really made my minimalism pretty rich. And over the last 1 year, I've delivered 45 talks, before which I had stage fear. I could not stand in front of people and talk. And I've been able to do 45 talks. And I think that has to do with a shift in mindset, looking at how life is, looking at how work is, and moving from there. And I think these are things that I could think which personally helped me getting into that mindset. And the future looks promising. And it's weird to say that at a time when we are struck with COVID. But I say future looks promising because I think we have opportunities, we do have challenges, but if we change the mindset, the way we are looking at it, I think the future looks promising for all of us, individually and collectively. And I think that paradigm shift of hope is what we need, even in work and in personal life. So that's it. We come to an end. We can take some questions. And that's my email, and you can reach me at Pen Positive on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Hi, Vinod. That was a fantastic talk, actually. So it's really great that you came out of your sleep and delivered that magic. And to be honest, we heard about you as a Malayali, and we are very proud about your blog.
Thank you.
This is a real time that we are hearing directly from you, and it's really a pleasure to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's very interesting to see your career journey, that you have explored multiple careers and found your joy in them, and how you reached this minimal agile concept, and how you reached that. You told about the concept of minimal happy mindset. So this is something we explored during the COVID times, because we were exposed to a situation where we can't do anything, and from then we are exposed to certain limit of freedom. So we could find out like what is the minimum that we want to be happy and free. So I think this helped us to find that minimal happy mindset, so happy existence. That was really that we could really resonate with your thinking from our current experience, and also the way you put across how to bring the personal and official life together and plan the sprints. That was a new revelation from the whole talk. Thank you so much for that. And I would take some questions from the audience also now. So let me take some questions from the audience. So first question I would like to put across is, what are the challenges you faced when you shifted your mindset to this minimal agile? And did you face any challenges, and did you have to do anything to keep yourself motivated?
Yeah, because it's not easy. It's a painful thing, you know. It's a very painful thing because you realize everything. See, a lot of the thoughts that you think who you are and what you are start crumbling in front of you, and you're tethered into pieces. It's very difficult to get yourself back, and you don't even want to be there. If it's very difficult. So I think it has to do with your relationships and maybe a friend, your spouse, your partner. You need some help. You know, it's not a soul thing where you close yourself somewhere or you go to a mountain and sit and then you have this revelation and come. No, you have to have that amidst all the problems and struggle that you have. And for that, you need some support. And that support could be a coach, could be a friend, could be a mentor, could be a lover, could be a kid, parent, whatever it is. But we don't live in isolation. We live in collectiveness. And that's important. That's the only thing that gets you motivated, you know. Because our sense of purpose doesn't come from what we achieve. A sense of purpose comes from with whom you are. And I think that's what motivates you, nothing else.
Thank you. One quick question, like, can someone's minimal be defined as a penthouse, having a BMW and a 7-digit bank balance, or it should be like 1 BHK, 1 cycle, and a small bank balance in the bank? And should we involve family when defining the minimal?
I think penthouse can be in minimal. I mean, I don't know. Who am I to judge another person, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a penthouse doesn't mean another person shouldn't do it, right? So the problem is we start defining other people's life for them, and that's not right. And that's why I said that my minimalism is not necessarily your minimalism. There are people who ask me what shoes I wear, what brand of eyeglasses I have, and what vehicle I drive. All of the three, I really don't care. I need glasses to see. I need the car to go from point A to point B that doesn't break, and I need a dress to clothe that I feel good about, and that's me. But for some people, it really matters, you know. So I think you can have all these things, because there was a time when I thought I wanted to have a Mercedes-Benz, and I had a Mercedes-Benz, and I had that, and then I figured out that why do I need it, and then I have a Mazda now. So I don't need. I don't feel that I have to have a BMW next, a Porsche or next. That's my take. But another person can definitely feel that. So what is the second part of the question? Is
that should we involve a family also? While
I think definitely. I think that's needed, because you cannot go on. If you have a family, right? If you have a family, if you're a society, if people love ones, it's a collective decision, because when you decide to go that way, there's a lot of challenges that will come, and it's not just something that will happen one fine morning. It's a journey. I'm still in that. I still go to my closet and I feel so excess. I look at the shoes that I've created, because another thing is that I think some of these shirts I've been wearing for probably 8 years, 9 years. They don't go bad. So what do I do? Right? Things that we buy they're durable enough. So I think, but you need to keep talking to a family. I think being part of that is important, you know, collectively.
Okay. One last question I will take, because there's so many questions and people will have to write to you to get the answers. But I will take one last question here. So
sure.
That is, my mind wanders very fast and I want to it goes from things from one, my wanders from one thing to another. So how do I focus and bring it down to few important things in life? Because my wants keep on increasing. So if I write a to-do list, maybe it will be 5 today, it will keep on increasing. But how will I curb it and make it a minimal to-do list for my life or for my year?
Yeah. So let's take. I would take our professional agile approach itself into that, because when we create a product backlog is a wish list. It's not a to-do list. When a product manager or product owner creates all these things, they are wish lists. The product owner might think they are to-do lists. Even the customer might not want it, but the product owner is creating it. It's a wish list. It's okay to have wish list, because you have to put all those things in to really come out, and then you come into the sprint backlog. When it's a sprint backlog, you have really defined what you can complete within that 2 weeks period. That's where the point comes. So you have to have a mechanism to move from wish list to a to-do list, and that is prioritization. So I typically look at prioritization, though there are many models. My personal way of prioritizing is value risk method, where you plot it against value and risk and kind of come up with which is the one. My risk tolerance is not your risk tolerance, which means there are value items in your life that you might decide not to do because you don't want to take that risk. There are some people who live in a very risky life that they can achieve valuable things. The value kind of increases. Some things have very high value and very high risk. So that prioritization mechanism is needed. Then the flow element that I mentioned, Mihai's concept of flow, where look at all those things that you want and see if you will be on flow and what makes you happy on that. It's able to, can you feel yourself happy in a sustainable fashion when you have it? So it's just like buying a car. It's a big thing. When you go to a car, look at those things, car showroom, buy that. The moment you drive the new car out, the price of the car reduces by 50%. So you bought something for $10,000 and you drive out something that is worth only $5,000. But you feel it's $100,000 worth of thing. And that enjoyment or happiness that you have will slowly go down as you drive it. Every mile, your happiness reduces. It goes up and then it starts reducing. And after some time, you don't even notice that you have that car. So I think prioritization is very important, and we look at value and we define value in that manner. And then it's just like how you prioritize in a product. You don't need bells and whistles. Bells and whistles look good, but that doesn't make it work. That doesn't make it happy. That doesn't make it a proper product. The main concept of minimum viable product, we always talk about it, but we never talk about minimalism in our life. We talk about minimum viable product. MVP, get me the MVP, get me the MVP. But what's your MVP? I mean, you're the product, right?
Right.
That's it.
That's a very good insights actually into the life and why we should attend such conferences to get these diamonds of wisdom. Thank you so much, Vinod.
Thank you.
Now we have a tree from Sangatharu. Sangatharu is a foundation with the philosophy of planting trees for the people, by the people. They will plant a tree in your name, and we will receive a notification when the tree is planted. You can spot your tree on Google Maps and also track its growth. So that is a real contribution from your side to me. Thank you so much for that. We also would like to inform you that PMI Kerala is trying to improve the quality of education of 300 children in this year. And with your contribution to this conference, you are extending us a helping hand to these children. And we would like to really thank you, Vinod, for that, for this contribution to the balance. Thank you so much.